Hello and welcome. I am Big Joe the Storyteller, and do I have some stories for you? Our very first story today is a classic tale. It's a story that you might know, and I hope you do know this story. And if you don't know this story, you're about to know this story. This is the story of the three little pigs. There we go. I am a pig for this story. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there were three pigs. Yes, three pigs. And all three pigs had gone out into the world to build their house. Their mother sent them out and said, "Go build your house." And they said, "Okay." Now, one pig, he was very smart. He built his house out of big, strong bricks. With other two brothers, they didn't like to work at all. They spent their whole day dancing and playing. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. And their brother said, "Hey, you pigs better build your house, because someday the big bad wolf is going to come. And when he does, man, he's going to eat you up." And they said, all right, build a house. So one pig went and he built his house out of straw. You know what? I like straw. One pig built his house out of sticks. I really like sticks. And they were dancing and playing and dancing, having a wonderful, wonderful day, when one day from over the hill there came the big, bad chicken. Come here. You're not a chicken. What? You're not a chicken. You're a wolf. I'm a what? You're a wolf. Oh, sorry. There came the big, bad elephant. You're not an elephant. What? You're not an elephant. You're a wolf. I'm a what? You're a wolf. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Right. Sorry. Ready? Yeah. There came the big, bad hippopotamus. All right, come here. You're not a hippopotamus. What? You're a wolf. I'm a what? You're a wolf. It's the three little pigs and the big, bad wolf. Oh, right. Sorry. Ready? Yeah. There came the big, bad wolf. Yes, wolf. Thank you. And the wolf came ahead, and all the pigs went, "Whoa!" And they ran in the house, locked the door. Hey, 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 hey. The wolf ran over to the pig in the straw house, and he knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. And in a great big voice, the wolf said, little pig, let me in." And the pig said, "I know this one. Not by the hair on my, oh, wait, I got it. Not by the hair on my knee." No, that wasn't right. I'm sorry. Wait, I got it. Not by the hair on my elbow. No, not that either. No, sorry. Wait, I got it. I'm sorry. Not by the hair on my belly button. No, not the belly button. Oh, wait. I remember the chin. The chin, exactly right. Not by the hair on my chinny chin. And the wolf said that I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew. And away went the straw house, and away went the little pig. And he ran to his brothers and knocked the door. Knock, 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 knock. He said, brother, help me. The big bad wolf is chasing me. And they hit on the bed. Whoop. And the wolf came over. And the wolf was very, very smart. He knew two pigs let him in, so he decided to play a trick. He went over, he knocked on the door, and a very little knock. Knock, knock, knock. A little tiny voice, the wolf said, "I'm a poor little sheep, and I've lost my way. Oh, please let me in so I'll be safe. Oh, please." They said, "Oh, man, did you hear that? It's a sheep. We got to let him in. We got to let him in. I went over to open the door, and just as I did, the wolf stuck his paw in full, and they said, "It's the wolf." Ah! He said, "Let me in." And they said, "Okay, wait. We had this a minute ago. What was it? Not by the hair on my, oh, I got it. Not by the hair on my ear." No, that wasn't right. That wasn't right at all. I'm sorry. Got it. Not by the hair on my back. No, that wasn't right either. Wait. I got it. Not by the hair on my Uncle Tom and Fred. No, Uncle Tom and Fred. No, they don't have hair at all. Wait, I got it. Not by the hair on my chinny chin. And the wolf said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed and he puffed and he blew. And away went the stick house, and away went the two little pigs. And they ran to their brother's house and knocked the door. Knock, 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 knock. They said, brother, that was a big bad wolf is chasing us. And they hit under the bed. Whoop. And their brother said, "Hey, don't worry. This house is made out of bricks. And nobody gets through bricks, not even a wolf." But just then there was a great big knock at the door. Knock, 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 knock. And a great big voice, the wolf said, little pigs, let me in." And the brother said, "I have this one, thank you." He said, "Not by the hair on my chinny chin. That was right, wasn't it? And the wolf said, then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew. And you know what happened? And nothing, because the house was made out of bricks. So the wolf decided to run through the door. Ah! But he hit his nose. Ouch. So decided to run to the wall. Ah! But he hit his head. Ouch. So decided to run to the window. Ah! But he hit his eye. Ow. And he looked up and he saw the chimney and he said, aha, I'm going to go down the chimney and I'm going to have pigs for dinner. Yeah. So jumped to the wall and started across the roof. And as he was going across the roof, the pigs listened and they said, whoa, you guys hear that? You know who that is up there on the roof? It's Santa Claus! Yahoo! It's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus! Oh, wait a minute. It's only June. It's the wolf! Oh no! And the brother said, don't panic. I know what to do. So in over fireplace and lit a fire. Big pot of water, and he pushed it on top. And the water inside got hot and bubbly. And the wolf was coming down the chimney, swinging his tail and moving his feet. He said, oh boy, I'm going to have pigs for dinner. So he started to go down. All of a sudden, he took one big leap down the chimney. Whip! He landed in the water. Splish! And the wolf went, yow! And he flew there. That really hurt. Well, when he got up, he wasn't feeling too big anymore. Yeah. He wasn't feeling too bad anymore. Yeah. And he wasn't feeling like chasing pigs anymore. And from that day on, the wolf never chased those pigs again. All three pigs were happy, and they all lived happily ever after. And that is the end. All right, on to our next story. Our next story is an old story, and it has been told many times, and even by Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite authors. Love Green Eggs and Ham and Cat in the Hat. Oh, my goodness. And this is Dr. Seuss story as well, but it is an old folk tale, and I'll tell it to you. It's called The King, the Mice, and the Cheese, and I'll tell it to you. Once upon a time, a while ago, there was a king, and the king loved to eat cheese. Oh, boy, did he ever. He ate every kind of cheese there ever was. He had soft cheese, hard cheese, squishy cheese, stretchy cheese, crumbly cheese, spreadable cheese, cheese with holes, cheese without holes. He had flat cheese, round cheese, thick cheese, thin cheese, square cheese, circle cheese. He had yellow cheese, orange cheese, white cheese, blue cheese, which is very good with chicken wings. He had sweet cheese, sour cheese, hot cheese, cold cheese, spicy cheese, even stinky cheese. Ew. Now, eating the cheese made the king very happy. And when the royal people came to the royal palace, the king would serve them cheese. Very nice, oh, delicious, delicious. One night, as they were eating their cheese, from a hole in the wall, there came some mice. And the mice came in. Let me fix my mouse. There we go. Hello. The mice came in, and the mice ran across the floor. And the mice ran across the table. And the mice ran up people's arms. And worst of all, the mice ate people's cheese. And when the people saw that, they put up their hands and they said, oh no, bad mice, we are leaving. And they all ran out of the kingdom. And the king was very upset. He said, oh no, we have mice in my kingdom. What are we going to do about the mice? And the king's royal advisor gave the king his very good ideas. He said, sire, it's very simple. To get rid of the mice, you need to find an animal to chase the mice away. Now, what could chase away a mouse? Oh, wait, I got it. A cat. Cats chase mice. He said, bring in cats. And they brought in cats. And the cats went, meow. And the mice went, ah! And ran away. But now they had a worse problem because now they had cats. And the cats were even worse. The cats scratched people's faces. Ow. They jumped on people's heads. Boink. Ooh. And they ran across the table. And the people put up their hands and they said, oh no, smelly cats. They said, we are leaving. And they all ran out. And the king was very upset again. He said, oh no, now we have cats. Cats in my kingdom. What are we going to do about the cats? And the advisor said, don't panic. To get rid of the cats, you need to find an animal to chase the cats away. What could chase away a cat? And someone got it. Dogs. Dogs chase cats. He said, bring in dogs. And they brought in dogs, vicious, hungry dogs. And the dogs went, rawr, 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 rawr. And the cats went, meow, and ran away. But now they had a worse problem because now they had dogs. And the dogs were even worse. The dogs licked people's faces. Blip, 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 blip. They chewed on people's shoes. And they ate food right off the table. And the people put up their hands and they said, "Oh no, nasty dogs." They said, "We are leaving." And they ran away. Well, they said, the king said, "Oh no, we have dogs in my kingdom. What are we going to do about the dogs?" And the king's sword advisor gave the king his good ideas. He said, "Sire, very simple. To get rid of the dogs, you need to find an animal to chase the dogs away." What could chase away a dog? You need something big, something mean, something really mean. Lions do the trick. He said, "Bring in lions." And they brought in lions, vicious, hungry lions. And lions went, "Roar." That's pretty cool. You want to hear that again? Ready? Roar. And the dogs went, "Yay, yay, 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 yay." But now they had a worse problem because now they had lions. Lots and lots of lions. And the lions are very mean. The lions roared in people's ears. Roar! They chase people around the kingdom. And the lions are very mean. And the people put their hands and they said, "Oh no, scary lions." They said, "We are leaving." And they all ran out. And the king said, "Oh no, we have lions in my kingdom. What are we going to do about the lions?" And the advisor said, "Sire, it's very simple. To get rid of the lions, you need to find an animal to chase the lions away." What can chase away a lion? It's something a bit bigger than a lion. A tiger? Nah, that won't do it. A rhinoceros? That'd be good, but bigger than that. We need something. Ooh, that's elephants. Elephants are the trick. He said, "Bring in elephants." And they brought in elephants, gigantic elephants. And the elephants went, "Brrr!" And lions went, "Roar!" And ran away. But now they had the worst problem of all. Now they had elephants. And the elephants were the worst. The elephants stepped on all the chairs, crunch. They sat on all the tables, crash. They ate all the food, hump. They drank all the drinks, and they were so big people could hardly move. And the people put up their hands and they said, "Oh no, huge elephants." They said, "We are leaving." And they all ran out. And the king was very sad. He said, "Oh no, we have elephants. Elephants in my kingdom. What are we going to do about the elephants?" And the advisor said, "Don't panic. There is one animal to scare the elephant away." Do you guys know what it is? There's only one animal. Only one animal's going to scare this elephant. What could we do to get rid of those elephants? Mice. Mice scare elephants. He said, "Bring in mice." And they brought in mice. And the mice went squeak, squeak, squeak. Whoops, he's upside down. There we go. And the mice went squeak, 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 squeak. And right side up now, I know. And all the elephants went brrr, and ran away. But now, wait a minute, friends. Now what did they have again? Now they had mice. And the king said, "Oh no, we have mice again. This is just where we started." The advisor said, "Sorry, it's enough." Said, "I should have done this a long time ago." He brought the mice together and said, "Look, you mice are driving me crazy. So if you want to be his kingdom, you have to stop driving people, stop running the tables, stop running the floor, and stop eating people's cheese. If you could do that, you could stay in my kingdom." And the mice agreed. And so the king had his tailor make little suits for the mice, so look presentable. And his carpenters make little tables and chairs, so places to sit. And that day all the big people came to palace and ate big pieces of cheese and big tables and chairs. And the mice came to palace and ate little pieces of cheese and little tables and chairs. And everyone was happy. The king was happy. The people were happy. The mice were happy. Even the cheese was happy. And they all lived happily ever after. And that is the end. All right. Now, we are going to tell you a story about being polite. Because in this day and age, being polite is a very good thing. It really is. And so I'm going to tell you the story called Thank You, Ollie. And here it comes. Story about a frog and an alligator. Now, right there. Hello, 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 hello. Hi. You ready for the story? Yes, I am. Once upon a time, whoa, no. What? I'm telling the story. What? I'm telling the story. I'm the storyteller. I'm Big Joe, the storyteller, and I have to tell the story. Okay, sure. Once upon a time, nope. Once again, I tell the story. I'm the storyteller. Okay, I have to tell the story. You can't tell the story. You're in the story, but I have to tell the story. Okay, whatever. How you doing? What? No, I'll tell the story. Goodness. Now, once upon a time, there was a frog named Fred. Yep. And Fred would go to school every day. He would go over the hills. Winga, 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 winga. He would go through the valley. Winga, 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 winga. He would go through the grass. Winga, 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 winga. And he would go over the hot sand. Ay, 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 ay. It's very hot. Ay, 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 ay. He hopped and he hopped and he hopped, but when he got to the river, he had to stop. The river was very big, and the river was very deep, and Fred was too small to go into that river all by himself. But lucky for Fred, he had a friend named Ollie. And Ollie would be sitting on the bank of the river every day. And Fred would get on Ollie's back, and he would say, "Take me to school, Ollie." And Ollie would take him across the river to school. Well, he would go off to school. And when school was over, there would be Ollie waiting for him once again. And he'd get on Ollie's back, and he would say, "Take me home, Ollie." And Ollie took him back across the river to home. Well, every day, Ollie took Fred across the river to school. And every day, he took him back when school was over. But one day, Ollie thought about something. He said, "Hey, Fred never says please. And he never says thank you. That's not very polite at all. So you know what? I'll give him a chance." And so the next day when Fred came to go to school, Ollie said, "Fred, do you have anything to say?" And he said, "Yep, take me to school, Ollie." He took him across the river to school. And he got there, he said, "Well, do you have anything to say now?" And he said, "Yep, see you later, Ollie." And he hopped away. Well, Ollie said, "You know what? I think it's time we teach that little frog a lesson." And so the next day, Fred came to go to school. He hopped over the hills. He hopped through the valley. He hopped through the grass. And he hopped over the hot sand. Still very hot. Well, when he hopped and he hopped, but when he got to the river, he stopped. Ollie wasn't there. And Fred said, "Where's Ollie?" Well, he looked up the river, but Ollie wasn't there. He looked down the river, but Ollie wasn't there either. And then he looked, and he saw a tail sticking out of the water, and it was Ollie. And Fred said, "Ollie, where are you going?" And Ollie said, "I'm leaving." He said, "Leaving? But why?" He said, "Well, I'm going on alligator vacation." And Fred said, "Alligator vacation? What's that?" He said, "Well, I'm going to a place where everybody says please, and everybody says thank you." He said, "When you coming back?" He said, "I don't know. Maybe never." He dove under the water and swam away. And Fred said, "Oh no. Without Ollie, how am I going to get across the river?" So wait, I don't know what to do. I'll jump across the rocks, because there were some rocks all the way across the river. So he went to jump across the rocks. Boing, 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 boing. But the rocks were very slippery. He slipped off, whoop, 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 and landed in the water. Ah, sploosh. Whoop. So wait, I don't know what to do. I'll swing across the river. So he climbed up a tree, grabbed hold of the vine, and went, but the vine just swung back, and he hit the tree. Ow. So wait, I don't know what to do. I'll run across the water. He got very far back, and he ran, 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 but frogs can't run across the water. He fell right in. Ah, sploosh. Wah! He said, "Wait, I don't know what to do. I'll fly across the river." So he climbed up a tree, got to the edge of a branch, jumped up, flapped his legs, flap, 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 but he fell back down. Ah! Oh. And he said, wait a minute. I'm a frog. I could jump. I'm going to jump across that river." And he got very far back, and he hopped, 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 and he jumped. But it wasn't far enough, because he landed right in the middle of the river, sploosh. And when he did, the water started twisting and turning around him. He tried to go fast, but the water went faster. He tried to get up, but the water went even faster, and he didn't know what to do. Oh, he was in so much trouble. But all of a sudden, he felt something underneath him, and it was Ollie. That's right. And Ollie took him across the river, and he said, "Ollie, you saved me." When he got to the end, he said, "Ollie, I have something to tell you." He said, "Yes, Fred." He said, "Thank you for saving me, and thank you for all the times you took me across the river." He said, "You're welcome." He said, "Will I see you later?" He said, "You certainly will." And he went off to school. And when he got done with school, he got back. There was Ollie waiting for him. And he got on Ollie's back. He said, "Ollie, would you please take me back home?" And Ollie said, "I'd be glad to." And he took him across the river. When he got there, he said, "Thank you, Ollie." And Ollie said, "You're welcome." And from that day on, Ollie took Fred across the river to school and took him back when school was over. But Fred always remembered to say please and always remembered to say thank you, because that is the polite thing to do. And that is the end. Now, I'm going to tell you a story now about kindness. Okay, because we had a story about being polite there, about saying please and thank you. And you should always do that to everyone, to your moms and dads and friends and people around you. It's very polite to do that. And now we're going to tell you a story about kindness, about being kind. Because in this world these days, kindness is what we need a lot more of. This is, been a very strange times that we live in, and we need a lot more kindness. And this is a story about kindness. This is a story about a bird and a very big act of kindness. I'll tell it to you. This story is called Why Parrots Have Colorful Feathers. Now, let me introduce you to my parrot. Her name is Molly. Hello, 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 hello. Stop saying hello. Hello, stop saying hello. Molly, want a cracker? I can't give you a cracker. Molly, want a cracker? No, we're doing a show. Oh, hello, hello, hello. You're too close to the camera. What? You're too close. Don't get so close. Hello. Stop saying hello. Hello. Please stop. Molly, want a cracker? Molly, you can't have a cracker. Cracker. No. Cracker. No. No. Molly, want a finger? You don't want a finger. That's my finger. Give me my finger. Ow, 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 ow. Bad parrot. Bad parrot. Molly, want a cracker? You're not getting a cracker. I'm not giving you crackers. Cookie? No. Taco? No. Pancake? We're going to eat after the show, okay? We have to do the show. This is a story called Why Parrots Have Very Colorful Feathers. And you do. I do. Yes. Now, if you look at my wonderful parrot, you will see all of her beautiful colored feathers. She has red feathers and yellow feathers and blue feathers, and can't really see it from there, but on her belly, she has purple feathers and green feathers, and she has some orange feathers as well. She has lots of beautiful colored feathers. And all parrots have lots of beautiful colored feathers. If you ever seen a picture of a parrot, or even seen a picture, a parrot up close, rather, you could see that they have lots of beautiful colored feathers. But it wasn't always that way. A long time ago, parrots did not have beautiful colored feathers. In fact, no bird had colored feathers. All birds were the same. They all flew around with plain gray feathers. Their feathers are just plain and gray. And they flew around, and they were all very sad because they looked down on the ground and on the earth, and they saw all the animals with all different colors. There were yellow animals, and there were green ones and blue ones and purple ones and pink ones, but they were just gray, just plain and gray, and they didn't like it at all, and it made them very sad. Well, one day, the king of the birds, who is Eagle, there's my eagle. Hello. Eagle was sitting at his nest, and he looked and he saw the birds, and he gathered them around. He said, "My friends, come here." And they gathered around, and they said, "Yes, your majesty." He said, "I need to know, why is everyone so sad? You are all so very sad." Well, they said, "Well, your majesty, our feathers are just plain and gray. We don't have any colors at all. And there's lots of animals, lots of beautiful colors, but we don't have any colors at all. And it makes us sort of unhappy." Well, Eagle said, "I do not like to see all of my friends unhappy. So here's what I want you to do. Tell the birds to gather tomorrow right here at my nest, and I'm going to do something very special." Well, the birds are very excited, and they went to go tell all the other birds, and soon all the birds in the world knew what was going on. And the next day, they all gathered around near Eagle's nest, and they all lined up. And Eagle went to the very top of the mountain near his nest, and he said, "All right, my friends, I'm going to do something very special." He started to flap his wings. He flapped, and he flapped, and he flapped, and he flapped, and he flapped. And when he flapped those wings, right over him came a great big rainbow with lots of beautiful colors. He said, "I would like all the birds to fly through that rainbow and get any color on their feathers that they want." And all the birds are very excited. And so they started to go one by one. They started to fly through the rainbow to get colors on their feathers. Well, Parrot was in line. And Parrot, she was very excited. She was trying to figure out what color she was going to get, maybe red or blue or green. Oh, she was very, very excited. And she was waiting in line when from behind her, there was a little bird. And the little bird said, "I like blue feathers. I really want some blue feathers. Boy, I would love some blue feathers." Well, Parrot said, "You know what? Why don't you go ahead of me? That way you make sure that you get the color that you want." And the little bird said, "Thank you very much. That's very kind of you." And the little bird went in front of Parrot. Well, Parrot was waiting in line, and behind Parrot there was a big bird. And the big bird said, "I would like some yellow feathers. I love yellow, and I would really, really, really like some yellow feathers." Well, Parrot said, "You know what? Why don't you go ahead of me? That way you make sure that you get the color that you want. And the big bird said, wow, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. And the big bird went in front of Parrot. Well, Parrot was waiting in line. And after a while, behind Parrot, there came a very short bird. And the short bird said, I would like some green feathers. I like the color green, so I would love some green feathers. Boy, would I like some green feathers. Well, Parrot said, you know what? Why don't you go ahead of me? That way you make sure that you get the color that you want. And the short bird said, thank you very much. You're very, very kind. And went in front of Parrot. The Parrot was waiting in line when a very tall bird came behind her. And the tall bird said, I would like some red feathers. I just love the color red. I really do. And I would love some red feathers. Well, Parrot said, you know what? Why don't you go ahead of me? That way you make sure that you get the color that you want. And the tall bird said, thank you very much. That is very, very kind of you. And let the tall bird go in front. Well, Parrot did that for other birds as well, because she wanted to make sure that they got all the colors that they wanted. And finally, it was Parrot's turn. And when Parrot got to the front of the line, the rainbow was gone. There were no more colors. And Parrot was very sad. And Parrot flew off with her plain gray feathers. Well, Eagle was sitting on his nest. And he was watching all the birds fly around with all their beautiful colored feathers. And he saw a parrot flying. And he said, Parrot, come here. And Parrot said, yes, Your Majesty. He said, I need to know, why didn't you get any colors? Didn't you want any color on your feathers? And she said, well, yes, Your Majesty, I did. And then she explained to him how she let the other birds go ahead of her so they could get the colors that they wanted. And by the time she got to the front, there were no colors left. And Eagle said, that was very, very kind. And for being so kind, I would like to do something kind for you. And so he called for all the birds, and they all gathered around. And he said, this bird has done something very, very kind for everyone. So I would like to do something kind for her. I would like all of you to take some of your feathers and give them to Parrot. And so all the birds started to fly at Parrot. They flew one by one, giving her all different colors. And when they flew away, Parrot didn't just have one color on her feathers. She had lots of beautiful colors. And she looked amazing. And she said to Eagle, thank you very much. And Eagle said, thank you for being so kind. And Parrot flew away. And from that day to this day, parrots have beautiful colored feathers. And that is to remind all the animals, all the birds, and especially all the people to be very kind, just like that parrot was so long ago. And that is the end. And that is the end. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you like the stories. And I hope that you are just like that bird, just like that parrot, that you are kind to everyone around you, because the world does need more kindness. I thank you for having me here, and thank you for listening to my stories. Everyone have a wonderful time, and thank you very much. And that is the end. Goodbye, everybody.